Hey, what's up, y'all, man? This is your boy, y'all's chosen one, man. We're in the great book of Jasher. We're on chapter 70. Hope you guys have been enjoying this bit of information that the book of Exodus didn't bring you. The Most High always makes it known, His word. Again, the book of Jasher is mentioned in Isaiah 38, verse 7 through 8. It's also mentioned in Joshua 10, verse 12 to 13. It's also mentioned in 2 Samuel 1, verse 18. So, for those who are wondering about what book of Jasher is, then, that's your reference. All right, chapter 70. And in the third year from the birth of Moshe, Pharaoh was sitting at a banquet when Alperaneth, the queen, was sitting at his right and Bethia at his left, and the lad Moshe was lying upon her bosom. And Balaam, the son of Beor, with his two sons, and all the princes of the kingdom were sitting at the table in the king's presence. And the lad stretched forth his hand upon the king's head, and took the crown from the king's head and placed it on his own head. So here we are, 3 years old, and this baby takes the crown off the king's head and places it upon his head. Big no-no. And the Pharaoh already knows it's a Hebrew kid. And they don't care about killing the kids. So this is going to be a big no-no. Chapter 70. And when the king and princess saw the work which the boy had done, the king and the princess were terrified. And one man to his neighbor expressed astonishment. They was like, oh my, did you just see that? And the king said unto the princes who were before him at the table, what speak you and what say you, O ye princes, in this matter? And what is to be the judgment against the boy on account of this act? See, judgment against the boy. Doesn't matter how old the boy is. What's the judgment? Because I'm the king, I'm the Pharaoh, and let's see what you think. And Balaam, the son of Beor, the magician, answered before the king and princes, and he said, remember now, O my lord and king, the dream which thou didst dream many days since, and that which thy servant interpreted unto thee. Now therefore, this is a child from the Hebrew children, in whom is the spirit of the Almighty, and let not my lord the king imagine that this younger did this thing without knowledge. And here's Balaam, he's a sorcerer. So his wisdom or his sorcery here actually has him saying something right. He actually is saying something right for the benefit of the Pharaoh. And Lord and behold, he's going to be right. For he is a Hebrew boy, and wisdom and understanding are with him, although he is yet a child, and with wisdom has he done this, and chosen unto himself the kingdom of Egypt. So he's saying this baby, even if he's only 3 years old, he didn't do this just by accident. He did this with the knowledge and power of the Most High. For this is the manner of all the Hebrews, to deceive kings and their nobles, to do all these things cunningly, in order to make the kings of the earth and their men tremble. And we have that power. If we can just get back to being a nation, being right with the Most High, man. Sure, you make mistakes, but the important thing is trying to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, man. Trying to get them down, getting back to the Most High. Stop doing all this religion stuff, man. The Most High hates that. He hates religion. He hates that you go after other gods. He hates that. And we can just get back right, man. As a nation, we'll be all right, man. Surely thou knowest that Abraham their father acted thus, who deceived the army of Nimrod, king of Babel, and Abimelech, king of Gerar, and that he possessed himself of the land of the children of Heth and all the kingdoms of Canaan, and that he descended into Egypt and said of Sarah his wife, she is my sister, in order to mislead Egypt and her king. His son Isaac also did so when he went to Gerar and dwelt there, and his strength prevailed over the army of Abimelech, king of the Philistines. He also thought of making the kingdom of the Philistines stumble, and saying that Rebekah, his wife, was his sister. Jacob also dealt treacherously with his brother, and took from his hand his birthright and his blessing. He went then to Paddan Aram to the house of Laban his mother's brother, and cunningly obtained from him his daughter, his cattle, and all belonging to him, and fled away, and returned to the land of Canaan to his father. His sons sold their brother Joseph, who went down into Egypt and became a slave, and was placed in a prison house for 12 years, until the former Pharaoh dreamed dreams and withdrew him from the prison house, and magnified him above all princes in Egypt on account of his interpreting his dream to him. And when the Most High caused a famine throughout the land, he sent for and brought his father and all his brothers and the whole of his father's household, and supported them without price or reward, and bought the Egyptians for slaves. Now therefore, my lord king, behold, this child has risen up in their stead in Egypt, to do according to their deeds, and to trifle with every king, prince, and judge. If it please the king, let us now spill his blood upon the ground, lest he grow up and take away the government from thy hand, and the hope of Egypt perish after he shall have reigned. And Balaam said to the king, let us moreover call for all the judges of Egypt and the wise men thereof, and let us know if the judgment of death is due to this boy, as thou didst say, and then we will slay him. The Pharaoh sent to call for all the wise men of Egypt, and they came before the king. And the Malek of Yah came amongst them, and he was like one of the wise men of Egypt. Look at this. See, Malachim could take all kinds of shapes and forms, just like they did in Sodom and Gomorrah when the men wanted to rape them. They can look just like men. You never know when you entertain angels, man. You never know. Now judge you also and see what is due. Oh, wait a minute. And the king said to the wise men, surely you have heard what this Hebrew boy who is in the house has done, and thus has Balaam judged in this matter. Now judge you also and see what is due to the boy for the act he has committed. And the Malek, who seemed like one of the wise men of Pharaoh, answered it and said as follows, before all the wise men of Egypt and before the king and the princes, if it please the king, let the king send for men who shall bring before him an onyx stone and a coal of fire, and place them before the child. And if the child shall stretch forth his hand and take the onyx stone, then shall we know that with wisdom has the youth done all that he has done, and we must slay him. Ah, okay. All right. But if he stretch forth his hand upon the coal, then shall we know that it was not with knowledge that he did this thing, and he shall live. Now, how about that? Talk about knowledge. Talk about wisdom. Talk about just plain common sense. And the king seemed good in the eyes of the king and the princes, and the things seemed good in the eyes of the king and the princes, so the king did according to the word of the Malek of Yah. And the king ordered the onyx stone and coal to be brought and placed before Moshe. And they placed the boy before them, and the lad endeavored to stretch forth his hand to the onyx stone. But the Malek of Yah took his hand and placed it upon the coal. And the coal became extinguished in his hand, and he lifted it up and put it into his mouth, and burned part of his lips and part of his tongue, and he became heavy in mouth and tongue. So that's why when Moses grew up, it wasn't that he wasn't intelligent, it was just that he either had a lisp or he had a deformity of his mouth, because this fire pretty much melted his tongue and his lips. Okay? And when the king and princes saw this, they knew that Moshe had not acted with wisdom in taking off the crown from the king's head. Now keep in mind, this hand of the Malek wasn't his literal hand. It was pretty much a spirit that moved. His hand moved the little baby's, the lad's hand to the coal. And whilst the boy was in the king's house, he was robed in purple, and he grew amongst the children of Israel. And when Moshe grew up in the king's house, Bethia, the daughter of Pharaoh, considered him a son, as a son, and all the household of Pharaoh honored him, and all the men of Egypt were afraid of him. So there's just like in Joseph, it's like with Joseph, now they have Moses, and he's been treated the same. And he daily went forth and came into the land of Goshen, where his brethren, the children of Israel, were. And Moshe saw them daily in shortness of breath and hard labor. And Moshe asked them, saying, Wherefore is this labor meted out unto you day by day? And they told him all that had befallen them, and all the injunctions which Pharaoh had put upon them before his birth. And they told him all the counsels which Balaam the son of Beor had counseled against them, and what he had also counseled against him in order to slay him, when he had taken the king's crown from off his head. They told him about this. You know, Moses grew up. He's grown up now. And he was like, man, boy, you almost got killed one day. You know, you took the crown off the king's head. And when Moses heard these things, his anger was kindled against Balaam, and he sought to kill him. And he was in ambush for him day by day, looking out for Balaam. He wanted to kill his ass. It's like you Egyptians. You're going to get yours coming again. And Balaam was afraid of Moshe, and he and his 2 sons rose up and went forth from Egypt. And they fled and delivered their souls and betook themselves to the land of Cush, to Kikianus, king of Cush. And Moshe was in the king's house, going out and coming in. Yah gave him favor in the eyes of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of all his servants, and in the eyes of all the people of Egypt, and they loved Moshe exceedingly. And the day arrived when Moshe went to Goshen to see his brethren, that he saw the children of Israel in their burdens and hard labor, and Moshe was grieved on their account. And Moshe returned to Egypt and came to the house of Pharaoh, and came before the king. And Moshe bowed down before the king. And Moshe said unto Pharaoh, I pray thee, my lord, I have come to seek a small request from thee. Turn not away my face empty. And Pharaoh said unto him, Speak. And Moshe said unto Pharaoh, Let there be given unto thy servants the children of Israel who are in Goshen 1 day to rest therein from their labor. Now, Moses growing up as an Egyptian. So, but it looks like he still kept the commandments of his brethren. And he knew that one day that they should have rest. It was their Shabbat. Alright? And Moshe said unto Pharaoh, Let there be given unto thy servants the children of Israel who are in Goshen 1 day to rest from their labor. And the king answered Moshe and said, Behold, I have lifted up thy face in this thing to grant thy request. And Pharaoh ordered a proclamation to be issued throughout Egypt and Goshen, saying, To you, all the children of Israel, thus says the king, For 6 days you shall do your work and labor, but on the 7th day you shall rest, and shall not perform any work. Thus shall you do all the days, as the king and Moshe the son of Bethia have commanded. And Moshe rejoiced at this thing which the king had granted to him, and all the children of Israel did as Moshe ordered them. So now we have a leader already been brought up in Israel. For this thing was from Yah to the children of Israel. For Yah had begun to remember the children of Israel, to save them for the sake of their fathers, which is promised to us. No matter how stiff-necked we were, no matter how bad we had got, the covenant is still with our fathers. And if it wasn't for our patriarchs, man, we wouldn't even have a chance. You know what I'm saying? And Moshe became great in the eyes of all the Egyptians, and in the eyes of all the children of Israel, seeking good for his people Israel, and speaking words of peace regarding them to the king. So Moshe was like our ambassador to Egypt, in a land where we were slaves, but we was working very rigorously. And Moshe saw this, man. And if you see your people out there, even if you're your own family member, man, you see them having a hard time and struggling, man, you're gonna feel bad. You know what I'm saying? Moshe felt the same way. So, you know, he had a little bit of power, so he tried to utilize his power to help us out. All right, this is your boy, Yah's Chosen One. I'll catch you guys on Jasher chapter 71, and hope you guys are getting a little bit more information about, you know, what was really happening in Egypt at the time of Moses, man. All right, shalom.